Hello everybody, Hellcracks here, and welcome to another Mercenary Thoughts from the Inner Sphere, episode 437. The last episode of the 3060 book. Yep, we are finishing it out. This is the last one. And today we're going to be talking about the Minotaur. Okay, the Minotaur. It's a 9-ton beast. There's several derivations of it. Some good, some bad. Just depends on how you want to use them. It's got some good firepower across the board per se. All right. Now, the Minotaur, 9 tons. It's a 353, so it does have some mobility. Yes, it does. And then it has a standard version, has 10 heat sinks. Well, because it has to. Then it has 36 points of armor. Well, you're talking about the same amount of armor found on a flea. Yes. Fleas can be armored. And then we have the weapon systems. In the torso, we have an ER medium laser and another ER medium laser. So it has 2 ER medium lasers. Alright, so you got a little 9-ton 353 moving Protomech that has 2 ER medium lasers. So they can shoot out to 15 and do 14 points of damage. If this doesn't scream base security or bodyguard for elementals, I don't know what else it does. Definitely, well, it could be used if you're running it around with a, like say a Daiashi, depending on what side of the aisle you're on. So say a Daiashi, it's called that from the inner point of view. You'd be looking at one of these things, and it can keep up and be mobile enough to get around. So, yeah, that's not too bad. Yes, you're going to have a 2 mod depending on how fast you move. If you run in a straight line, you're going to have a 2 mod. You jump the thing, 3, you're going to have a 2 mod. So that has that going for it. Now, coming in with a battle value of 424 points, it starts to get a little spendy. But if you're running, let's say 5 of these things, yeah, you're running close to the same battle value of some of the light mechs running around for the clans with a minor loadout. You know, I've seen some of them getting pretty spendy. But, yeah, with a couple ER medium lasers, it will reach out there and touch you and let you know that it's in the area. Now, it may not take long to destroy said thing. You know, it's like a couple good, well-placed ER large lasers, and this thing will be toast, but it does have enough in the center torso. You know, it's got 15 points of armor in the center torso, this standard version. So it can take an ER large laser or a Gauss rifle shot and go, okay, if you just took all my armor off, I'm still ticking. Now, it's the second shot it's going to probably punch through and end its day. But, you know, that is what it is. But it's one of these things where I can see if you have any type of city fight, like I said, garrison duty, these would be pretty decently used to provide enough firepower and get into the cracks and crevices of your lineup and lay down some fire on targets. Now, if you're running it in conjunction with battle armor, yeah, it's a nice addition to the firepower that they really don't have a lot of firepower, but, you know, it's the nuisance factor that they provide. These guys will add a little bit on top of it. It's kind of like a layered effect. You know, you have your long-range weapon systems with some of your mechs, and then if you throw in some of the Protomechs, that is another layer. And then obviously your final layer would be the elemental aspect of it, which, you know, it's filling in concentric circles of protection. And if you're running in with a lot of congested area, these things can do pretty decently. Come around the corner and go, hello. Yeah, they may die quickly, but you have to hit them first, and that's, well, kind of like the incandescent warriors. Is like you can attract the attention over here, or you can go after the big guys with the big mechs. And it's like, which one do you want to sit there and play against? You know, that's how I always look at the Protomechs. They're a nuisance. And some of these can really lay down some good firepower on the table and start tearing holes in the individuals. So there you go. And that's the Minotaur Prime or #1 version. Then we have the #2 Protomech version #2. Alright, so this one is interesting. It's a 350. Doesn't have jump jets. They had to get rid of jump jets. And this comes in 163 or 168 battle value. So a lot cheaper. And if you're running around in a base garrison security system, this is probably going to be halfway decent for it. Because it has an LBX-2 on board, which shoots out to 30. So if you want to provide some protection against VTOLs, aircraft, or even hovercraft, yeah, this will be something you could probably throw up on some high ground someplace and just sit there and start shooting down range with them. Park itself in, let's say, some woods or on top of a building. Or I guess you can't. Let's say a parking garage. There you go. So it can get up there to the height. And sit there and just rain down a little bit of fire. Yeah, it's 2 points damage of possible with it. It's like it's got 1 ton of ammo to go with it. So really, it's like, yeah, you're going to go full bore shotgun effect. So you got 1 to 2 points of damage with that -1 to hit. You know, make it easier to hit your target. So yeah, that's the best thing I can say about this one is that, yeah, you might throw, if you're doing a base defense game or garrison game, yeah, you might consider throwing 1 or 2 of these in. They're kind of cheap. Throw them in there and just provide some firepower for slowing down VTOLs or hovercraft. So I can definitely see the usage of the this version on the battlefield. So yeah, make use of it. That's all I got to say. I wouldn't fill up my force with a lot of them, but having 1 or 2 in that point of Protomechs might be useful. It just depends on the type of game you're going to be playing. What's the scenario? So that's kind of like how I look at it. Then we have the next one, Protomech #3. This one's interesting. This comes in at 443 battle value, so spendy. But it has an LRM-12 with 10 shots. So that goes out to 21. And this now is a 5.85. So they took all that tonnage used for in the Prime version for heat sinks and threw it into increasing its mobility and having the ability to throw stuff down range. So yeah, 10 shots, not bad with an LRM-12. The armor value is pretty decent for it. So now you got something that can get around pretty good. And now you're looking at something that can be used in running around in cavalry style operations and running in conjunction with, say, your 5.8 moving heavies or even medium mechs. So you got something that's pretty decent now that can keep up with them and throw some firepower down range for a few turns. And the LRM-12 is not something to sneeze about because you're typically, it's like 7 points damage on an average. So that's pretty good. That's the same as being hit by an ER medium laser, but now you got a little bit of extra range. And you can even think about putting maybe specialist ammo, possibly, if you want to go that route, or just indirect fire, you know, come up on someplace and just rain down fire on it. And when the bays are empty, go up, about face, and leave. You know, go back and reload someplace. So, yeah, that's what I consider this one a pretty decent little Protomech. Very useful, I would have to say. Running in conjunction with the Prime #1 version, yeah, it might be a good layout for a point of elemental style Protomechs. There you go. Then we got the #4 Protomech. This is a 585. Still got the mobility. Comes in at 188 points. So not too bad. But this one has a Protomech AC2. All right. So now you have an autocannon. Goes out to 20 for 188 points. So 2 points of damage, 40 shots. Not bad for range, for weapon system. Has some mobility. And it sort of tells me it's working on trying to, once again, harass any type of like vehicles and stuff like that. So basically it's got plinky damage, you know, nothing really to sneeze at, you know, okay, 2 points. But those 2 point shots, if you got 5 of them on the table, you know, because you can throw 5 of them on fairly decently for the point wise, and maybe get a few shots in, and if you hit the flanks of a vehicle and get some mobility shots on them, slow them down so the mechs in turn can turn around and blow them off the table later on. It's like first turn, second turn type of thing. The first thing, these guys are going to do what they can, and the second turn, it's like if you slow them down, then that gives the opportunity for the mechs to go, okay, I'm going to waste that thing now. So it's kind of like an order of operations, that way I always look at it. It's like trying to slow it down and then kill it the next turn. Because these guys are not going to, well, unless they get a lucky 2 or a 12 roll on a vehicle, it's like, hey, oh, we hit the ammo, boom, gone. Or mobility killed it right there. DRT, that's possible. It is a game of chance, so it is possible for on the first turn to get something like that. But don't never count on it, that type of deal. Now, I did a derivation of this one, the Minotaur 4, and let me bring her up here. This one is still a 585, so it's got the mobility, but we swapped it out with a medium pulse laser. So now you got something that goes out to 12, and it has a medium pulse laser, allowing you to do some good damage on target, hit fairly decently. Now, if you're fighting into a congested area like a city fight, then that might be something to think about, is having something of this nature where it's got some mobility, get up and around buildings, and when if it does jump, you know, you're mitigating some of it with a pulse laser. If you're not, you're just running down the road and you just hammer away, you're countering that too. So you have a better shot of doing some good damage or something. You know, that's how we always look at this version here. So basically taking like the 4 version and just swapping the AC2 out for a medium pulse laser works pretty decent. There's not much change there. So that's the one version that I do like also. So of my choices of running around with these things, I like the idea of the Minotaur 3 with the LRM-12, and I do like the standard Minotaur 1 Protomech with the 2 ER medium lasers. So if you work those in conjunction, maybe even like the one I described, if you have access to Heavy Metal Pro. Hey, yes, Heavy Metal Pro Light. Yes, you can build Protomechs with that. Kind of cool. When's the last time that thing's been updated, though? It's been forever. But anyway, it's pretty not bad. You just have to shoehorn it into the correct scenario. So if you know what type of scenario you're going to play, you can take the Minotaur 1 or the Minotaur 3. So that's how I basically look at throwing these on the table. So very useful, kind of handy. Scenario will dictate which one you're going to use. All right. So that's the end of the 3060 book. Hope you guys like it. Like and subscribe, share with your friends, and we'll see you in the next one. Hellcracks out.